Hello and welcome. Thank you for popping into my channel. If you are new here, then please like and subscribe for me. It would really help out the channel. Comment below with your thoughts or topics you'd like me to cover. Check out my website, consultingninja.tech, and don't forget, if you find this content helpful, then smash that notification bell so that you don't miss out on the next video. With that out of the way, let's get right to it. I'm pretty excited about this video. I had this cool idea of putting together an authentication server using SvelteKit and deploying it to Vercel and then connecting it to my application in order to handle all of the authentication and the refresh tokens and authentication tokens for an application. I worked out the process on how to make that happen, and that's what we're going to do today. I hope you find this as cool as I do. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. I have a SvelteKit application that I set up, and then I installed JSON Web Token. That's all I've done so far. So what we need to do in order to create a authentication server is in the svelte.config.js. We are going to make use of environment variables. We're actually going to make use of 3 environment variables to be specific, but we need to tell our SvelteKit setup where to look for that file. Let me know if you guys had trouble. I have had problems with SvelteKit not finding my environment variables if I don't have this set. Not sure if anyone else has had that issue. Let me know in the comments if you have. So inside of our routes for this, what we are going to have is we have a plus page. We can get rid of all of this. Let's just put welcome to my authentication server or my auth server. And then we'll create, just for giggles, we will create a plus layout.svelte. But we're not going to do much in here. All we're going to do is make a little wrapper. So put our slot in here so our page will render there. And then we'll give this a class of main, like that. We can put a little Svelte head component here. We can render out a style tag in the head in order to remove the margin from the body here, kind of like my standard thing I do here. Whoops. Margin 0. And then we can copy this style tag for the layout. And what we're going to do here is set that main class. And it's just going to be display flex direction column, justify content center, and align items center. Save that and fire up this server. npm run dev -- open. All right, so we have our page now. That's literally the only part of this application that will be facing the front end. There's not going to be any front end here because all this is going to be for is handling the authentication for an application. So what we need to do is create 2 API routes. So inside of routes, create a new folder, API, and then inside of that folder, we need one for login, and we need one for refresh. All right, let's do these one at a time. So in the login, create a new file, plus server.ts or JS, doesn't matter. Use whatever you're comfortable with. And then what we're going to do in here, if you are using TypeScript, go ahead and import type request event. And then we're going to need a JWT, import JWT from JSON Web Token. We do need some environment variables. We need 3 of them to be specific. So we need secret _ access. We need secret _ com. And we need secret _ refresh from $env static / private. We can go ahead and make those now. So go ahead and create a new file living right next to your config, since that's where we told our application to be looking for a .env, and then go ahead and create those 3 environment variables. You can make them whatever you'd like. I just used UUIDs. You can make them something more secure. It doesn't really matter as long as it's something, you know, pretty long unique strings. You can even combine, in my actual applications, I actually combine multiple UUIDs together to make something really secure. But for this, you can just put whatever. Just put some random characters in here for now. Or you can go to your terminal and type in UUID gen, and that will also generate a UUID that you can copy and paste in there as well. So now that we have our environment variables, what we're going to do is export const post. So this API route, the login, is going to be a post request route, and so it's going to take an async, and we're going to pull out our cookies and the request. If you're using TypeScript, you can go ahead and add the request event here, whoops, on the inside. Like that. Now we're deploying to Vercel, and so we won't actually be able to get the cookies from our application, receive them to Vercel, but what we can do, and what we're going to do, is we're actually going to sneak a JWT token inside of a custom header from our application and send that to Vercel. So what we're going to do in our login is we're actually going to sneak one in there called a communication header, and this is going to be an extremely short-lived JWT token that we're sending from the application that's handling the resources and the front end responses to this authentication server. And this is just a communication token that we can verify in order to know for sure that who we're talking to is in fact our application. I call this com header, and we're going to pull out request.headers.get, and I called this access control com token. You can call it whatever you'd like. Access control com token. Now, if that custom header is not there, if not com header, then we would need to go ahead and bail out. So what we would do is return a new response, and it's going to be a JSON.stringify, and this is my custom and standard response. Error of true, a success of false, a message of invalid request, and data. You can send, if you want to debug, you can go ahead and send that back in here. Otherwise, typically this would just be undefined. And then right outside of the parenthesis here, a comma, and then this is the status, the location to put the status on a response, and this would be an unauthorized 401. So that's what we want to send back if the communication token that we're sneaking into a custom header is not there. If, however, it is, what we're going to do is we're going to do a try, and we're going to do a const claims equals jwt.verify, and what we're verifying is that header. It's going to be a token, again, that we sneak into that header. And then the environment variable that you're going to use here is the environment variable. This is an environment variable that's shared between the application that we're running and our verification authentication server, and this is going to be secret_com. So we have 3 environment variables. We have the secret communication environment variable that's shared between the server that's running our application and the server that's running in Vercel that's handling our authentication. We have a secret access token that is likewise shared between those 2 servers. And then we have a secret refresh token that is only available in the authentication server, never shared anywhere else. If not claims, so if the token were to come in and it doesn't check out, then we need to likewise return a new response, and we can copy this old one to save us a whole bunch of typing, and we can just put unauthorized in here, so it means that we got a token but it was not legitimate, it was expired, or something was wrong with it, it didn't match our token, our environment variable, and so we would want to send back this response. Unauthorized if claims is successful. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set 2 new tokens. Const a new access token, and it's going to be jwt.sign, and what we're going to have in here is an object. We'll call this auth user, and we're going to pull out the claims.auth user. The token that we're sending, we're going to send in that token we're going to send the user after we've checked their password, and so we're going to be taking that user back out and creating 2 tokens with that. So we want a new access token that is the user that was sent inside of that claims, and then we also need to pass in the secret access environment variable here, and then we need to set expires in, and this is going to be very short-lived. I would say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something very short. This is an access token, and we're going to be creating tons of these over and over and over again, and so we want them to be very short-lived so that if somebody were to get a hold of one, they cannot access anything for very long. And then what we're going to do is a cookies.set. We're going to set auth token to new access token, and then a few options that we need to set here is HTTP only, true, max age is going to be 60 times 60 times 24, so we're going to leave the cookie good for a day, but you can make it less if you'd like, since it's going to be, the token that's inside of it will be expiring every 10 minutes anyway. And then we need to set same site to strict. Now we can copy this and new refresh token. And we're going to be sending the same thing back. So this will be a refresh token that has that same auth user inside from the claims that we sent in our communication token. A couple other small modifications here. This token will be good for longer since it's a refresh token. This will be good for 120 days. And then we need to update the name here. This will be refresh token. And then the cookie itself that it's going to be in, let's make that good for 120 days. The last thing is that we are not signing this token with the same environment variable as the regular access token, so we need to change this to secret_refresh. This is the one that is only ever going to be used on the authorization server. And then we need to go ahead and send a new response back. So let's copy this response and just modify it. And here we're going to do error false, success true, message of success. Data can stay undefined. We don't need to send anything back. You could, if you want to here, if you feel like doing any sort of debugging, this would be a good spot to put that. And the status will be 200 because everything was a-okay. Now, what we need to do next, or what I would do next, is catch any errors. And I'm going to show you guys some common errors that you would catch using JWT tokens, and so you can send back appropriate messages. So if error.name is token expired error, then you can go ahead and send a new response with a expired message. So this would be error of true, success of false, message expired. And a status of 401. If the token is expired, then they're not authorized to be here. And then we can copy this, and I'll show you guys 3 other common ones. 1, 2, 3. And so the other 3 common ones are JSON web token error. That comes up a lot. JSON web token error. This would be if the JSON web token was not sent, if it's missing, if anything comes up with not having the web token correctly formatted, anything of that nature is when this one would trigger. And so you could just say unable to verify comms. And this would also be a unauthorized error back. And then a not before. So this one would be if someone is trying to send a bogus token and the token is actually not good yet. That's when this error will come up. So it's a not before error. And I would just send back kind of the same thing, an unauthorized status, and that same sort of unable to verify comms. It means that the token that we sent with the communication header was unable to be verified, and so we can't verify the communication status, and so we'll send back an error. And then the other one is, I miscounted actually. I only have 3 ones to show there. So we check for those 3 things, and if any of those are true, then we return that specific message. Otherwise, just outside of this last catch, if anything else comes up that we did not think of, then we can return a generic. That's why I was thinking there was 3 other ones. Is this one? It's not specific though. So this would be just a generic error, and so you could just say unknown error. And this would be a status of 500 since we don't know what happened. Okay, give that a save. And now in our refresh route, what we're going to do here is create a new file, +server.ts or JavaScript if you so choose. Well, again, whatever you are most comfortable with. And we can copy a whole bunch of this one. Let's go ahead and copy all of our imports there. And we're going to do the same thing, export const. This is a post. It's going to be an async function. And again, we're going to pull out the cookies and the request. If you're using TypeScript, again, put in your request event type there. Now here in the refresh route, so this route is going to be responsible for issuing a new access token if it's pinged and the communication token checks out. Then we're going to go ahead and issue a new access token back to the application that's requesting it. So the very first thing again that we're going to do is check the communications token. We can copy this out from our login route. So go ahead and copy and paste. We want to check to make sure that the access control communication token header is there and that the claims check out on it. So if that's all good, then we also want to, let's copy the claims here. Let's make our try block, and just inside of there put our first thing that we're checking. We want to check to make sure that the communication token checks out that's hiding inside of our header. All right, so now on this side, if the claims are good, then what we're going to do is pull out the refresh token. So this we're only going to do if the claims checked out from the communication token. But if they did, then we're going to look for a second header that we're adding, a custom header called, I called this access control refresh token. You can call it whatever you'd like. Const refresh token equals request dot headers dot get, and this is going to be access control refresh token. And we're going to kind of go through the same logic. So we want to first check to make sure that that's there. We can copy this one and paste that here. So if the refresh token header is not there, then we also want to bail out. It's an invalid request because this is the refresh route, and our refresh route, we need a communication header to verify the communication is coming from who we think it is, and only if that's true do we check to see if the refresh token header is there and verify that. So let's go ahead and paste that in there, and everything there would be the same except for pasting in the refresh token. If, however, that is there, then what we want to do is do a const refresh claims equals jwt.verify, and what we're verifying is that refresh token. And here we're going to be using the secret underscore refresh environment variable that only our authorization server has access to. And now we want to do, let's copy this one. So if the claims doesn't check out on the refresh token, we also need to send back an unauthorized response. So it'd be a 401 unauthorized, the message of unauthorized, the error true, success false, and no data going back. Copy and paste the refresh claims in there is what we're checking on that one. But if the refresh claims are good, then we want to go ahead and issue a new access token. Const new access token equals jwt.sign, and what we're going to sign here is an object with auth user, and this is going to be refresh claims dot auth user because we're pulling the user out of the refresh token, and that's what we're signing. And we want to use the secret access environment variable to sign that one, because that is going to need to be verified on our application that's receiving the authentication. And so now we need to set the rest of the items same as we did before. Secret access, we want to set the expires in. This one again, whatever you're comfortable with, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you like. And then we need to do a cookies.set, and we're going to set the auth token to be the new access token. And same as before, we're going to set the HTTP only to true. The max age to 60 times 60 times 24. The same site of strict. And then we're going to return a new response. So we can copy this response, just modify it. So here, error will be false. Success will be true. Here we can just say success. Data undefined and status of 200. So now we want to go ahead and do our catch. So catch error. And we can copy these out because these would be the same errors, and paste those in. If you wanted to have specific error messages for any refresh token claims errors, then you would add a second try catch block in here. So you could do try, and you can just copy all of this out. Let's see here, all of this. Paste that inside, and then you'd have another catch there, and then you could copy these like this. And then here, this would be, so the inner catch would be all of the errors triggered by the refresh token tries. And so you could have specific messages for those, and then the other one, the outer one, would be for the communication token. All right, so there it is. You go ahead and save all that, and then commit it to your repository in Vercel. Vercel is super straightforward to use. Once you have an account, which is free, you can get a free hobby account. You come in here, this is the dashboard. You add a new project. And once you've connected it to your GitHub, you can simply select your repository. It will import that in for you. Once it's imported, then you can click on it. One thing that you'll have to do here is in your settings, scroll down to the towards the bottom, there's an environment variable section, and you just put your environment variables right here. You can actually open your environment variable and copy them. So just do Control-C and paste them right in that field, and it will add them all in for you. I already have mine, and so you can see them here. Now, we're already at 32 minutes, so I'll leave this section of video alone, and I'll shoot another video and release it very soon showing you how to connect this to your application and make use of it. We actually have the beginning already done. We would just need to modify the previous example I gave in order to make use of an external server to do our refresh tokens for us. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. This was a super fun project for me. I look forward to shooting the next video and showing you how to make use of this. We're going to have to get creative in pulling out the information from those cookies because we don't actually have direct access to them. Same as how we had to get creative in sending our headers with the JWT tokens attached to those headers. We're going to have to get creative in pulling out those cookies that we send back. So stay tuned for that video. If you like this one, again, please give me that thumbs up. Thank you, and as always, have a great day.